Today on Locked On Canadiens, the Habs started the year with a chaotic win against the Carolina Hurricanes. They managed to outscore their problems. How did they do it? We'll get into it next.
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canadiens. I want to thank you all for making us your first listen of the day. As you know, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I love saying that. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Ian Boisvert, and we are here to break down that win against Carolina. In our second segment, we're going to get a little bit in-depth, a little bit more. We want to talk about specifically Slafkovsky, Dobes maybe. There's some things we want to say, so we wanted to spend 2 segments on that game. And in our final segment, we have our weekly Friday Habs mailbag. We got some questions from you guys. We're so grateful to you, and a couple of them are super, super fun. But let's just start with that wild one in Carolina. Ian, first of all, Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's I hope that this isn't a sign of things to come for this year, because I think all of us will need to be on blood pressure medication if scoring happens at the rate that it did against the Carolina Hurricanes on Wednesday night. Thursday night.
It was definitely a chaotic game. And the narrative of the game kind of was a little bit similar to what we've seen a little bit, is that the Canadiens get off to a lead and then allow a team back into a game. They also allow a lead and then come back dramatically in dramatic fashion. And I think, it's safe to say that the loss of Matheson was evident in that game. I think, he's one of those players where you don't realize what he brings until he's not there. Or we do. I mean, this is a very Mike Matheson forward podcast.
Yeah.
But he is one of those guys that we don't really appreciate enough. And then we see that he's not there. I also think that we do have to kind of talk about the fact that the Canadiens are still pretty young. I don't know if with the addition of Philippe Danault, like the average age of the Montreal Canadiens went past and they're no longer the youngest team in the league. They're definitely one of the youngest teams. I didn't do the math. Ian, you can do the math one day when you're bored. You will. But the average age of the Montreal Canadiens isn't that high, right? So we saw a lot of immaturity in that game. And we saw it specifically when they allowed Carolina to score 4 unanswered goals. But there were so many different things happening in this game is that I can't, in good conscience, call it a bad game for the Montreal Canadiens.
No, there are games that you're going to have to win this way, man. They're not all going to be shutouts. They're not all going to be low scoring 3-1 with an empty netter wins. Sometimes it's these are heavyweight bouts, and this is just what happens. I think it's important to put into the context that, like you said, Mike Matheson didn't play in this game. It should be noted that one of their best defensive presences, who plays almost all situations, he doesn't play on the power play, but Montreal only had one of those, so it doesn't really matter. You take him out of the equation, and all of a sudden, nobody in the Canadiens end knows how to play defense. I think that that's an important piece of context here. And yeah, they are already one of the youngest teams in the league, if not the youngest, with Mike Matheson in the lineup. Then you take him out and you replace him with a rookie in Adam Engstrom, who we hope one day becomes the next Mike Matheson, but isn't there yet. I don't fault them for the way that they play as a young team. I think it's one of the things that you notice is, I think it's similar with the Ranger game where they were up 3-0 in the first period. They if they get off to a good start and they've scored a bunch, oftentimes something bad happens. Sometimes it's a chance against, a goal against. In this case, against Carolina, it was a power play. Alex Texier got a penalty for how do broadcasters like to say it? He got hit in the midsection. They love to use the word midsection. He chopped him in the junk. It's fine. Like, that's what happened. I don't think he did it intentionally. Do that. He didn't do it intentionally, but yes, you can't do that. Like, that is a known thing. But at any rate, like, that was the moment where the Hurricanes were able to find some kind of momentum. The challenge that comes with a young team like the Canadiens is stopping that tailspin. And they had a really difficult time stopping that tailspin. They gave up 4 in a row after that. They gave up 2 power play goals in that span. They were both scored very quickly on the power play. Like the first one was on their second shot, but it was within like 20 seconds of that power play starting. They went 2 for 2 on their first 2 power plays. Montreal only had 1 power play, and I thought it stunk. But then, like, what ends up bringing them back is Sammy Blais scoring on a partial break. Great play from Hutson as well, and Gallagher. I thought Blais and Gallagher were fantastic. Veleno on that line was also fantastic, which they needed to be. And we'll probably
if only Veleno had better hands.
If only, man. He had another like partial break and he couldn't score. I find Sammy Blais to be one of the funniest players on this team.
Yes, let's talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I think, and he wears 27, and I think physically, like, he's built like Alex Kovalev. Like, he's kind of hunched over, really big. For some reason, when he gets in the offensive zone, he thinks he's Alex Kovalev, which is really funny to me. Shot is really good. He seems to have really strong offensive instincts. I don't understand what's keeping him from being a more complete NHLer. Is it his foot speed? His physicality is great. He's an incredible physical presence on the forecheck. Like, we know Anderson left the game before the third period started. He scored a goal and died with honor. And then we didn't see. It looks like his right hip bothered him. TSN showed a clip later. But if you need a guy to slide up and play on that third line, I mean, is it a bad idea for it to be him? I don't think so. Like, I think Blais has stepped back into this lineup and has provided what Montreal was hoping he'd be able to provide before they lost him on waivers to Toronto.
Yeah. I also just think it's hilarious that Montreal just claimed him back. Like, that in itself, like the lore of that, I love that. I love when that happens. Like, somebody claims a player on waivers.
We saw him live as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
It was not good.
It was not good for him. And I know he wanted to like stick it to the Canadiens. He's like, oh, there's revenge in this game. It's like, you were always going to be waived, Sammy. And I hope, like, it doesn't seem like there's any ill will there because he seems pretty stoked to be a Canadian again. It certainly beats being a Toronto Maple Leaf at this point in time.
For sure.
But I've really enjoyed the Sammy Blais experience. Like, he's going to provide exactly what you need from him. Lower in the lineup, he's going to chip in some offense. The goal he scored against Boston was hilarious. Just the short angle upstairs shot hit the goalie in the face before it went in. Like, I genuinely enjoy watching Sammy Blais play hockey, which is not something I thought I was going to say while watching him in the preseason.
I also don't think that we expected to watch him at all.
No. Again, it goes back to what we've said, like when people are complaining, oh, Joe Veleno shouldn't be in this lineup. You know who agrees with you? Marty St. Louis. That's why he was the 13th forward coming out of training camp. That makes Sammy Blais forward 14. Like, there wasn't a spot for this guy, and now he's taking advantage of his opportunity. It looks like, if Anderson misses some time, there's going to be more opportunity for him. But like, I find that he's exactly what you want out of a bottom 6 or 4th line player.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, when the Canadiens get fully healthy, is there a space for him? Because I'm thinking playoffs, right? Like, that's the kind of guy you want in a playoff lineup.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I'm just a little bit nervous because if there's room for him in the lineup in the playoffs, then something went really wrong before that.
True. It's fair. It's a fair point.
Any other general thoughts about this game? Because I know we're going to get into a little bit more nitty-gritty in our second segment.
I just want to point out, and this will be the last, I think, negative thing I say about the game. The power play at 5-on-4 has not been good for a while now. Their last 5-on-4 power play goal came back, I believe, on December 20th in that first game against the Pittsburgh Penguins on the back-to-back home and home. The rest have either been 5-on-3, the 2 against Boston, or the 4-on-3 against Florida. I think a lot of it's just overpassing. They're trying to pass the puck into the back of the net. I think they just need somebody out there who's going to rip it. Now, I will say, I'll put a positive spin on this. In the one power play we saw against Carolina, the one guy who looked like he wanted to shoot the puck and score was Cole Caulfield. And if that is the case, the Canadiens are going to be fine. I think they need more chances on the power play in order for that to work out. But generally, I'm a little concerned about what I'm seeing at 5-on-4, and I'm hoping they can pull themselves out of it. I mean, they scored they scored 7 times, 6 with a goalie in net.
Yes.
And they only had 1 power play, and that power play looked terrible. Like, it just did not look like it was going to do anything.
There was a point during the power play where I was just like, can we just end this?
Yeah. Can we punt? Just take the yardage? Yeah, it's fine.
just do it. All right. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about Dobes. We're going to talk about Slafkovsky. We're going to talk a little bit about how the Habs pulled off that crazy win that's coming up in just one moment here on Locked On Canadiens. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited-time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. And the timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Canadiens your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Canadiens compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you'll also get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. Go to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, let's get back into that game. So I feel like you and I kind of might not be fully agreeing on the goaltending because I just thought it was an abject failure, to be honest.
Oh, against Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did not love Dobes in that
game. Look, I have a lot of like simple rules in my head when it comes to goaltending.
Go for it. Is
there a screen in front of the goaltender? Yes. Then I really have a hard time faulting them most of the time. No, stop it. If it was deflected on the way in, yes, I have a really hard time blaming the goaltender. No, stop it. Like that, did they have to move east-west? Did they have to push side to side because somebody was left open? You get the idea. Like the whole thing with the goaltender in my mind is make the saves you're supposed to, steal one every so often. I don't think that in this game there was any that you look back on and you're like, Dobes needed to have that. Because I thought one of them was like that. The 4-2 goal, the Nikishin power play goal, because it was a shot from deep, literally from the blue line, but it does hit Dobson before it goes in. And it's like, what do you expect the goalie to do? Yeah. With that said, midway through the second period, he locks in. He makes a bunch of saves in rapid succession in a short, just one spurt from Carolina. By the way, Carolina was not very good in this game. Let's be quite honest as well. Like they struggled. I imagine a lot of these guys were out a little bit last night, maybe a little later than they ought to have been. But he makes a bunch of saves there. The Canadiens are able to survive it. They go up 5-4. And he makes a bunch of saves in succession in a row, 2-3 saves in close, defense in front of him kind of flailing. The very next shift, Slafkovsky scores to make it 6-4. And it's like, that doesn't happen. You don't get that insurance marker if it's not for Dobes making the saves that you need him to make. Yes. So I think he bounced back at mid-game in a way that we don't see the goalies on this team do. Like the whole magic or tragic thing with Matheson, you can do the same thing with Montembeault and with Dobes. Like if they're bad, they're usually just bad.
Yeah, you can tell. It like spirals. It doesn't go well after that. So I want to talk a little bit about Lane Hutson and Slafkovsky. To a certain extent, Demidov, again, one of those things where like it's not something people talk about, but he does things on the ice where you're like, damn.
Yeah. I think he's up to 35 points in 40 games. He is
what a bum.
trending closer and closer to being a point per game player. He needs 70. I think 71 is the rookie record for the Montreal Canadiens. So he might end up, he's kind of right on pace for that. And it seems like he's heating up.
Yeah.
Like it seems like, that is well within play for him.
I think a lot of things changed when he started playing with Slafkovsky.
And that's it, right? Like, I think we talked about duos, right? Marty talks about duos. Nick and Cole, duo. They play together. I think Slafkovsky and Demidov are just a duo now.
Yeah.
And now the goal for the Canadiens shifts. They have to be. They're so good together. And the goal for the Canadiens and the way they construct their roster changes, where now you're looking for a winger who can play with Caulfield and Suzuki. That's not going to be easy to find, but there are wingers out there. Like every team is trying to find centers. Now you have to find a winger. You're in a better position. It's not to say they're not looking for help up the middle as well, but like Kapanen's doing more than adequately.
Admirable job.
I can't find myself to be in a place where I'm like, they have to find an upgrade on Kapanen because that's not what ails this team.
No.
Finding potentially another center for Kapanen and Demidov to play with, or just hoping, or Slafkovsky and Demidov to play with, or just hoping that Kapanen becomes that guy.
Yeah.
I think that's cool too.
Yeah.
I think, and for right now, I want to say, I think Texier is filling that role next to Suzuki and Slafkovsky so well. He set up Caulfield or Suzuki and Caulfield really well. The Caulfield goal, Bolduc doesn't make that play.
No.
Bolduc probably just shoots it off the 2-on-1, doesn't get a good scoring chance. Texier pulls it. He's on his forehand. He pulls it to his backhand around the player's stick and is able to get it over to Caulfield. I really love the brains and the hands on that player. Like he's a great fit with those guys. I want to see more and more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was very apparent the second they took Bolduc off that line and put him in there.
Yep.
It was very, very apparent right away. Okay. Lane Hutson talk.
I thought the first half of the game he struggled.
He did. He was having trouble coping with the assignment.
I think so. I forget what goal it was. I'm just looking back through my notes.
Maybe the third.
It's the Svechnikov goal. Yeah, the third goal for Carolina that put them up in the first period. It was like he was rimming it around the boards to nobody, and Carolina picked it up and was able to do whatever they did.
Have you noticed it's not just Lane Hutson, but it's also Noah Dobson that they overcorrect when Mike Matheson's not there?
Yes. I thought Dobson struggled in this one as well. I thought he made a lot of plays and passes to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that a lot of the zone exit duties go to Matheson. I want to watch for that when they're both playing, which according to insider Jakob Dobes after the game, he said Matheson probably won't be out very long. So good to know. But
Jakob Dobes, I feel like he's not been media trained.
No, he's fine. He's he's fine. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Dach's gonna play tomorrow, by the way. That's not true. But that would be really funny if he just came out. He was like, "Yeah, Kirby's gonna play. It's fine." I want to watch for it the next time Matheson and Dobson play together because my gut tells me that the guy leading the charge to leave the zone is not Noah Dobson.
Yeah.
Dobson is great down low. He wins battles on the boards. He's good in board play. I think Matheson is the one leading the charge, and when he's out, they really struggle moving the puck.
Yeah, because I think that what Dobson did in this game that was great were the clutch defensive plays, getting the puck away from Dobes, right? There were some moments where I was like, I'm so glad Dobson was there, but he struggled. But back to Lane Hutson, I do feel that he was able to rally his 4'0" body and from the depths of his just will himself to play better, and then all of a sudden he was putting plays on people's sticks.
Yeah, he finished the game with a goal, an assist, and a +3. Yeah. I love how we were he had a bad half to the game, and you look, and that's any other defender's maybe best game of the month. It's really funny, just the standard that he's created for himself, where when he's even slightly off, we're uh-oh, you can tell. I think the world of this kid. I keep, Team USA is going to announce their roster today as you're listening to this. He's not going to be on it. I don't know if he's on the short list to get there. It doesn't look like they're taking Adam Fox. So maybe they're just out on that kind of defender in general, which I think you're making a critical mistake if you're doing that. But that's not a mistake, quite honestly, that I care about.
Yeah, it's a mistake that benefits me. So why would I care, right?
This might be Bill Guerin's last time managing this Team USA. If this is the team he puts together and they go out and they don't do anything of consequence, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna give it to somebody else next time.
Yeah. And you know what? That might be fair. All right. Speaking of Lane Hutson, we got a really fun question about him from a good friend of the show. So our Friday Habs mailbag is up next. Real quick programming note, I will be hosting solo next week, but I won't be completely solo. I do have some guests lined up for next week. Ian is going to be away for a few days, and I do promise to come up with trivia. It might not be as sicko as some of Ian's questions, but I do promise to come up with trivia questions for every episode. And also, I might be on Game Over on Saturday. Our people are still talking to Game Over Montreal's people about that, but after the Blues game, there is a possibility that you will see me on Game Over Montreal. And also, we're going to do a heated rivalry bonus episode one day, but that's going to be in like a couple of weeks' time because Ian's going to be away next week. All right, let's talk about the mailbag.
Yeah, let's start with that fun one about Lane Hutson from our friend Robert Rice. Happy New Year, and I'll lead off with a key question. With Bill Guerin having no interest in Team USA scoring in the Olympics, the Caulfield-Hutson snubs seem to be coming. With that acknowledged, what will Lane Hutson do if he can't play a proper hockey game for 3+ weeks? A, stage a 3-on-3 tournament for his fellow Olympic snubs. B, team up with Demidov for a procedural series on YouTube to investigate team's exploding stick problem. Or C, anonymously write incredibly popular heated rivalry fan fiction. What are your thoughts? What is Lane Hutson? Genuinely, I don't know how he's going to survive those weeks if he does not make a team.
Genuinely, I do think that when he's not playing hockey, Lane Hutson goes into a cryogenic chamber and just like, is frozen until the next hockey opportunity to practice or play hockey. I honestly think we're going to see him like all day on the ice, all day, just like we saw in the off season, right? He's definitely going to be that guy who, it would be hard not to take it personally, given how good you are and given how good you are and given how useful you are to the team that you play on 82 games a year, right? Given the rookie season you had, given the season that you're having now, I think it would be really hard not to take that personally. And you kind of need to understand that a lot of the people running these teams, including partly Team Canada, which we haven't reacted to that, but there's some dinosaurs that like really just want big lumbering guys who are going to like grind you into the boards. And they think that's the way to win at a best on best Olympic hockey tournament. But I think he will just find a way to play hockey all the time. But I really like the idea of him just like writing fanfic.
Yeah. I think the simplest answer here is that him and Demidov use the time to cook up some of the most diabolical power play and 3-on-3 overtime plays we've ever seen. I think that's they're gonna be on the ice all the time. Yes. I don't know what the rules are for the Olympics. Like, are the Canadians still allowed to practice while they're on a break? Like, I think they have to be. It's not like it's I think they'll be allowed to practice. I'm not sure what the rules are.
I think they can go to the rink just like they do in the summer.
Gotcha.
I just think that the team can't compel them. So like Marty can't call meetings or whatever.
Yeah, agreed. Let's do one from Randy Hansen that's not hockey related at all. Today I paid $2.50 to fill a low tire at the local gas station. I remember paying 25 cents for the compressed air in the past. What extreme price jump have you experienced lately that made you feel old?
I'm old enough to remember when that was free.
I mean, that's a Canada problem. Where I live, it is free. You just walk inside the gas station, you press a button, and it gives you air. So
no, we've needed to pay. So like it was. I think the last time I had to do it was $125. But like there are some that it's like $3-4 now.
That's crazy.
But the price jump, honestly, is every time I go grocery shopping.
Yeah,
literally every time. I remember I used to be able to buy yogurt for $2.30, and now it's like $7 for a tub.
Yeah,
it's literally $7 for a tub.
Yeah, it's I make the joke now that I can't leave my house without spending $60. And like 10 years ago, it used to be I couldn't leave my house without spending $40.
Yeah,
like everything is just that's just how life is now, man. I don't know what to tell you. We're not fixing.
And I will say one last thing on that.
Canadians.
What?
I said we're not fixing those problems on Locked On Canadians. Like that's not something we're gonna have the ability to solve here.
The one thing I will say about that is that there's like one thing that I buy at Costco every time I go. It's one specific product. And every time I go, I swear to you, it is $1 more expensive.
Well, you know what, though? You guys in Canada, you guys are part of the Costco problem, because the hot dog and soda combo is $1.50 in Canada, just as it is in the United States. And that's not fair, because our money is worth more than yours, that you guys are getting that hot dog cheaper than we are and causing the problem. So I don't want to hear about your Costco woes, dude. Look at you, complain about the price, go buy a hot dog. There you go. That's your problem. Anyway, let's go to the Roberts brothers. This is for Kyle Roberts. Hi, Ian, Laura, Roberts brothers, and company. With Guhle, Kirby, and some of the other guys returning hopefully soon, fingers crossed, and the team playing as well as they have thus far, would it be possible to send the returning players to Laval for a game or a few to shake off the rust? Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see the team at full strength, but we can afford to be patient, right? What are your thoughts on a potential or potentially some what's the term? We were just saw Sam going conditioning stint. Yeah, what do you think about those for those guys?
I think it would be really funny. I feel like there should be a rule where, like, if you're out for an extended period of time, you need to go do a conditioning stint in the AHL, because it was so funny to see. It was Carey Price and Brendan Gallagher
at the same time. Yeah.
It's so funny. Honestly, like, I think the Canadiens need them, though. I think Dach and Goalie, as soon as they come back, the Canadiens need them. I know they're winning games right now. I know they're finding ways to win games right now, but they just make it easier on themselves if those guys come back.
Yeah, and I always worry about those stints. It's less so with goalies, but like I'm always worried that
the Belleville Senators.
The Belleville Senators exist. That's a perfect example. Like every time the Laval Rocket play against the Belleville Senators, it's a circus, and I wouldn't want to put them in that situation. Obviously, you can target it, like don't play the Belleville Senators. You know, Sam Montembeault had to play 2 against the Cleveland Monsters. That is what it is. But regardless of that, like it could just be some guy who's up from the ECHL, and is like not going to be an AHLer a long time, and he gets to take a run at Kaiden Guhle. Like, you know what I mean? I always worry about that. But I like the concept of sending these guys for conditioning stints.
Yes.
All right, let's make our way over to Blue Sky to wrap up our mailbag here.
I was just double checking that the Senators are still in Belleville, because they've moved around a lot.
Yeah, they're in Belleville. Yep. They used to be the Brampton Senators. Remember the Brampton Senators?
Yes, and they were also at one point, they were somewhere in upstate New York that they weren't the Adirondack Senators, but they were like somewhere.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Boondoggle, are the Habs going to be taken over in the standings by the Buffalo Sabres? We haven't talked about this, but they've won, I think, 10 in a row. Yes. Buffalo.
Yeah.
But thankfully the Canadiens have also played well and picked up points. So it's right now the whole Atlantic is kind of on a treadmill, because yes, Buffalo's picking up points, but so are Montreal and Tampa and Florida and Detroit. Every time Montreal wins a game, I'm like, oh, are they going to make up ground? And Detroit, nope. 2 points. Well, nevertheless.
The Buffalo Sabres have won 10 in a row. The Buffalo Sabres reacted to a GM firing the way that a lot of teams do, which is they got themselves into gear. I still do not trust their coaching. I 100% do not trust their coaching. So, and I also think it's really funny. I think they started going on this tear when on Heated Rivalry, they made fun of them. So they took that really personally and won a bunch of games. But I think it's not sustainable. I just think that now the Montreal Canadiens are going to have to consider the Buffalo Sabres, as well as the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Detroit Red Wings and the Florida Panthers, and potentially the Ottawa Senators at some point. They're going to have to keep an eye on those guys. Like, we're going to be scoreboard watching until April.
Yeah, I believe nobody in the Eastern Conference right now is below NHL 500. Yeah. So like it's tough. You want parity? That's what you got. Yeah. Categrins on Blue Sky. Way too early predictions, and forgive me if you've been asked this already. My brain is like a sieve these days. It's still the week between Christmas and New Year's. You can be forgiven. Which Habs do you see being on the roster, assuming they win the Cup in the next 3 to 5 years? Let's pick one each of a guy who maybe is on the fringes of, like, don't pick a core guy, but like who's somebody that you think might still be on this team in the next few years that maybe would be surprising.
Florian Jacquet.
Really?
Yes.
Like still on the team, as in like
he would be part of a Stanley Cup winning team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's probably recency bias, but like I would still love to see Alex Texier in a lower 6 role. Like he's playing above his head right now, and he's been doing an excellent job at it. But like I think him as a third liner is awesome. Yeah. I do wonder about Anderson and Gallagher, with next year being the last years on their deal. Like maybe you keep Gallagher until he wins one in Montreal, and you just do 1 year, $1 million contracts until he gets the job done.
You're keeping Gallagher for sentimental reasons at that point.
Yeah, every team needs a guy you win it for.
Yes.
You know, when the Canadiens went on their final run, it was Carey Price and it was Shea Weber because they felt pretty confident that it was it for both of those guys. You know, Gallagher could be one of those guys. All right, a couple more quick ones here. Where's the best place for Dach to fit in when he returns? That's from Jeff the Red.
You're gonna hate me for this, but you take Texier off that first line, you put him there. You put Dach.
I don't hate you for it at all. That's my favorite idea. I because like the best Dach has looked
is on that line.
As a Montreal Canadian was with those guys.
Yes.
And there's a spot open for him there. Mm-hmm. And I know people are like, oh, they got to ease him back in. You don't get to choose when your opportunity comes, man. No. And there it is.
Yeah.
You're going to step back into the lineup with a chance to play on the first line with those guys. You better be ready, man.
Sink or swim.
Exactly. At this point with Kirby Dach, he's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the year. I completely agree with you. Let's see. Jeff the Red again. First of all, thanks for another great year of the podcast. Where does Lane Hutson sit compared to your expectations before he played in the NHL? What do you think his ceiling is at this point? I thought he was going to be good, and I thought it was going to take time. There's no way he was going to be this good this fast.
Yeah. That's my answer as well, is that I thought that he would reach this, but like in year 4 or 5, not year 1, right? So I think like we were always excited about Lane Hutson, especially like after he got drafted. We were excited about this guy, but we knew that it was at the time, it felt like high risk, high reward, right? And every time we saw him, we're like, okay, this guy has the potential to be. I think his ceiling is to be like just under Cale Makar. I don't think that he's going to be better than Cale Makar, but Cale Makar is like the best defenseman playing today. Like,
I think he's in the Adam Fox territory.
Yes.
I think that's guess what? An incredibly elite hockey player.
Yeah.
That the Canadiens got with a second round pick.
Yeah.
He was the fourth player they picked in that draft.
Yeah. And I think he's like, his ceiling is top 5 defenseman one day. Like one day in the NHL, it's going to be like the top 5 defensemen are going to include him among those names.
Yep. He's slowly getting to point per game as well.
Yeah.
All right, last question here from John C. Will Fowler be sent back to Laval, and is it the right move going forward? What are the options if he's not sent back?
I think that it's inevitable that he'll be sent back. I think that this team is going to live and die / live or die with Sam Montembeault and Jakob Dobes. I think that Jacob Fowler came up here to provide a little bit of an interlude, a stability, a period of stability. But he's going to go back to the AHL, and he might go back to the AHL as soon as next week or the week after.
Yeah, I think we talked about it with Montembeault, wanting to see a little bit more. I said I want to see 3 games. You said 5+.
I don't trust him anymore.
I can't blame you. I'm not even going to blame you for that. Like, I think that we've been burned enough where everyone has their own tolerance for when we can say Montembeault's back.
Yes.
Josh is back was Marty's big proclamation last year. I hope he doesn't do that with Sam this year. I think can I be honest? I think the Canadiens are perfectly comfortable right now riding this 3-headed goalie monster.
Yeah.
They know they're not going to do it long term. And the reason they're doing it is not for the same reasons they did in the past, which is that, well, we can't send Primo down because he'll need to go through waivers. That's not an issue. Like Montembeault, I know people are like waive him. They're not waiving him. That's fine. I believe Dobes could technically still go to Laval, but Fowler can just go to Laval. Yeah. They're fine doing that. So I don't think that this is as big of a problem as it was in the past.
I think that the moment they decide to send Fowler down is when they realize he's not playing enough games.
Exactly. And right now we might be getting to that point if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But, back-to-back coming over the weekend, he's probably going to get one of those games. And yes, just checking on Puckpedia, Dobes is waivers exempt. So if they wanted to, they could send him to Laval. I don't think they're going to. They are not. The reason they did this in the past was CBA rules did not allow for them to do it. That is not what's constraining them this time. What's constraining them this time is we don't know who's our goalie. We don't which is a much different question.
Yeah. All right. It is time for our trivia.
Yes. Let's recap yesterday's question or the last episode's question, and then I'll give you the new one for today. All right. The last question was the Calder front runners, Beckett Seneca, Matthew Schaefer, and Ivan Demidov are all currently on teams in playoff spots. When was the last time all 3 Calder finalists made the playoffs. Laura, what's the answer to that one?
It's the 2013-2014 season. I only remember Nathan MacKinnon out of them.
Correct. Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon with Colorado, and then a pair of Tampa Bay Lightning. It was part of their triplets line. Was Andre Palat, who's not one of these guys, but it was Andre Palat is one of those guys. It was Killorn, I believe, was the third triplet, and Tyler Johnson with Tampa Bay had a very fast burnout in the National Hockey League. He was so good for like such a short period of time, and then he immediately just didn't have it anymore.
Yes.
No one had that one, so stumped everyone on that question. Today's question. Montreal's win in Carolina on Thursday was their first in Carolina since April of 2016. Who scored the game-winning goal for the Montreal Canadiens in that game? If you have the answer, put it in the comments down below this video. Let us know any way you know how, and we'll give you a shout-out on the next episode of the show.
And so Ian will be away, but I will be back on Monday with the answer to that trivia question, which I don't currently know and I cannot even guess. But I'll get it out of Ian before the next episode, I promise. And I will have trivia questions next week. As I said, I'm going to be solo, so obviously Monday is going to be our game recap. Our weekly recap. There were 4 games this week, so it was a lot going on. But first, I want to thank you for tuning in today to Locked On Canadiens. On Monday, I'll be back for a full week of really fun stuff. There's a lopsided week games-wise, but I've got some fun stuff planned. So make sure you're subscribed to and you follow Locked On Canadiens so you get all the latest episodes. You'll find us all over social media. We're on Blue Sky's Locked On Canadiens. We're on TikTok as Locked On Canadiens, and we're also on Instagram at Locked On Canadiens. You can also email us at lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Canadiens ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com to join the club. And for those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And on audio, please make sure your second listen of the day is Game Night on Locked On NHL. It's really fun, and sometimes you will see us there. I want to thank you all for listening, and the show will be back on Monday.